we should talk about your tryst with law. Rather interesting, given that you do not have a law background.
No, I don't have a law background. I've never studied law.
So what's the love fascination for it?
Well, it's after practicing some law myself, I fell in love with law. You see, I found that one of the techniques your opponents use is to keep, I would say, the word keep in the sense of keep, a lawyer who would then file false cases against you. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was against me from day one, and I think it's really partly arose because Mrs. Gandhi was against me, and Atal Bihari used to listen to her for a variety of reasons which I don't want to explain, because he is now, not in a position to defend himself, so why should I say the truth about him? But he was under her influence. For instance, in the emergency, he used to write to me letters saying I should surrender. There was no other reason except that Mrs. Gandhi was putting pressure on him. So he got this Jethmalani to file defamation cases against me. So the mayor of Bombay was asked to file a thing that I had slandered him. Now, I had never slandered him, but they got it published in some newspaper in my name, which I could never see. I mean, in Bombay, I was in Bombay and some Chandigarh paper published it. And Jethmalani got the case fine. I found that lawyers were reluctant to come and defend the case because no lawyer wants to oppose another lawyer. And of course, Jethmalani also got, on behalf of Ramakrishna Hegde, because I had exposed the corruption of Ramakrishna Hegde, filed I forget how much it was, 10 crores or 100 crores defamation suit. So now question is, I had to therefore defend myself. My wife is a Parsi, she has lots of these Parsi lawyers related to them. So one of them was a very famous lawyer, criminal lawyer called P.R. Vakil. He's dead now. He told me that I think because you're a professor and you've got an analytical mind, you can do it yourself. I will give you tutorial. Later on, of course, Fali Nariman also and many other lawyers, they became my friends, and because my wife was a lawyer, so I used to go for social functions as her spouse. So they began giving me tutorials, tips and so on. And so the first case, defamation case, I won. I was acquitted. Then Ramakrishna Hegde's case, now by then I had become emboldened. So I brutalized them so much because the power of cross-examination, you can really do the real defamation at that time. And I exposed everything but Ramakrishna Hegde, so finally he told me I want to withdraw the case, provided you give me assurance you won't sue me for damages. I said I have no time to waste on a court, so he withdrew the case. Then Jayalalitha filed 100 cases against me in different courts. So I will be just going around and around. So I sat down and said, what is the solution to this defamation thing which is harassing everybody? By chance, on a flight to Washington, I had gone to give a lecture. I bought a book called the New York Times Standard. New York Times was sued by an Alabama police official, and the lower court held New York Times guilty, asked them to give $2 million to him. The matter went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court of the United States held the view that if a public person, either is an official or is a famous cinema star, some public wants to sue for defamation, then the onus will not be on the defamer. It will shift to the defamed. Because public persons can call press conferences and rebut, which private persons cannot do. And therefore, this New York Times standard is that where public persons are involved, the defamed person must prove that he what was said was not only untrue, but also the person making the defamation knew it was untrue. So I took this to the Supreme Court and I said, Jayalalitha, the onus is on Jayalalitha, not on me. And Jayalalitha and Venkatachalaya was the Chief Justice. He was mighty impressed. So he said, okay, we'll hear this matter. Venugopal, who was the lawyer for Jayalalitha, he knew that there's trouble. So they all withdrew, all the 100 cases one day, the Tamil Nadu government withdrew the cases. Then I began getting a reputation that I do research. So then I moved into public interest areas, encouraged, because reputation had grown, so people started asking for me. So this Dalit area had been subject to terrible atrocities, and nobody wanted to go. So I went there. I was told that the Tevas would attack me. I said, let them. But the Tevas had a soft corner for me because I was defending Muthuramalinga Teva, their leader. I got a statue put up in Parliament. So they didn't come in the way. And then I asked the scheduled caste, what would you like? And they said, we want a CBI inquiry. So I went on that case. I got it. I won that. Then the farmers of Madurai asked me whether I would get the water level of the Mudla Periyar raised. I got that also done. Like that it started. And then the most celebrated case till this recent one is the Ramasetu. Because there the entire central government, state government, everybody was for it. The Chief Justice Balakrishnan was also for it because he kept saying, what is this? A small amount is being broken, 300 meters wide, what is the harm? But I argued for 2 years, and the judges were so mighty impressed that finally they agreed that the canal, if it is to be built, it has to be built by another route and not by cutting Ram Setu. That transformed me as a Hindu leader. And that's how I was back in with RSS, because the RSS in between had become estranged because I didn't join BJP. I did not join the BJP. So that's how, and today I study law. My wife's library comes very useful. All the filing and all that is done by her. So I basically go and argue. And I got lots of important cases which are presently pending. I just come back from concluding arguments on the Islamic Bank in Kerala, where I got a stay. And there was so much fright in Kerala, it's unbelievable, that no Hindu wanted to challenge it, although they privately, all of them wanted it. And so like that, now the 2G case, and the more ahead. I think law is a powerful instrument. I tell my 2 daughters that the women in India should learn only 2 things, law and karate. Then they can work, go into the work field.
Interesting link between politics and law, sir. And if yes, what is it?
Not much. You have to pass legislation. So you must know when you see a bill. Most people don't read the bill. For instance, in 1984, I introduced a bill for right to information. That's the earliest anybody even thought, because it had happened in America. So I have to keep in touch with America because I go every year to teach at Harvard. So the politics needs law only peripherally, but a politician needs law because he has to defend himself. Otherwise, people file false cases. Today, nobody files defamation cases against me because they know what I'll do to them.
Yes. How important is religion, sir? I understand that it is an interesting part of your life.
Yeah.
So, again, is there a link between politics and religion?
Well, I have a theory of development that unless you harmonize spiritual values with economic development, you're going to have crass greed and ultimately corruption. The solution for corruption is religious values, because then you have a higher authority with whom you want to please, and therefore you would do things which you would not do it rationally. I think the case of Hindutva, and I have a book release on 20th. If you are here on 20th, you can come to it. I'll give you the invitation before you leave, which the RSS and the Vishnු Parishad and Swami Dayanand Saraswati are releasing. I think, you see, the moorings of a society are based on religious values. Religion is based on faith, and faith is based on trust. Without trust, you cannot have a society. Now, you can be religious without being against somebody, and particularly for Hindu, it's very easy. For Islam and Christianity, which says that we are the only religion, and everything else is blasphemy or it is kafir or whatever. Hinduism now requires a great deal of renaissance. There are many things which were originally good ideas, but then it got degenerated. Take, for instance, caste. Original idea was that learning, weapons, wealth and land were sources of power, and they should not be in one hand. So they created a class called Brahmins, who would only be for learning, but they will have no wealth, no weapons, but they will have such prestige that society would consider it a privilege to give them what they need to sustain themselves. The kings would bow before them. Similarly, the king could have a kingdom with a weapon, but he could not declare war without the learners, people with learning approving it. The Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas could earn wealth, but their social status doesn't depend on that. Today, in globalization, your social status depends on how much wealth you have. It's a different thing. Land was meant for only producing the needs of the public. Some people were put out of society, but then their children were not also outcasts. For instance, Valmiki, his parents were outcasts, but he himself was Maharishi who wrote the Ramayana. Vedavyasa was the son of a fisherwoman, and he wrote the Mahabharata. Vishwamitra was a child of Kshatriyas. A Kshatriya family he was born in, but he became Rishi of Rishis. Even the gods were afraid of him. Kalidasa was a hunter. He became the biggest poet we ever had. So this the connection of birth with this division of power. Caste Varna was originally a division of power, but it's now got degenerated because it become connected with birth. There's no such thing as a man born Brahmin. It's not. You can be a Brahmin if you are born to Brahmins, but it's not automatic. It's not automatic. You can be born elsewhere also. That's why when some Muslims whom I know who want to convert back to Hinduism, they say, what caste will you have? I said, choose any you like. But I think today's situation, Hindutva would mean forgetting about caste altogether. Just you are Hindu and nothing else. The country needs an identity. We must have an identity. The identity is the Hindu civilization. Now, Islam may have contributed here and there, but Ganga also has lots of small tributaries joining it, but Ganga remains Ganga.